Hey, Build Show Network. Welcome to another new video. Today we're going to mix it up a little. As you can see, we didn't start out with the site video, and that's because I'm going to give you a little intro as to what you can expect today. So, just so happens, I was staying in this guest house, a recent trip to Italy, and some of the construction methods were pretty interesting, and there was a bunch of things to talk about. So I took a little tour around the house and a few things there to share with you. So let's dive in and see what I got to see out there. One thing also, at the end of the video, stay tuned. We got a little bit of a bonus that's going to happen there. I'll talk a little bit more about it after the site video. So let's get out there. Let's walk around. Let's talk Italian construction.
Hey everybody, Steve Bazek from the Build Show, live from Italy. Yeah, I'm in Lagarda, Italy. There's a beautiful lake down the hill here that a lot of people in Europe come to vacation at. We've stayed at this house here for, about 3 days now, and I've learned a couple things about Italian construction that I wanted to share with you. So, first of all, recognize the whole house is made out of concrete, right? It's concrete piers, it's a concrete soffit, even the gable wall is cast in concrete, which I thought was pretty interesting, the fact that everything is made out of concrete. Second, in this house and in driving around, one of the things that I've noticed is that Italians really love their outdoor space. They place a premium on it. You can see here outside we have a cooking center outside. We have an outdoor dining center, sitting center. We have a sitting area over there. But we always have these shading devices, so they're very keen on staying cool. Now, this house is all concrete. It doesn't have air conditioning in it. It does have a heating system, but no air conditioning. And but it does have these outdoor spaces and these awnings, which takes me to a second point. We come over here. You'll notice there's this big metal grate along here. Well, downstairs there's a couple bedrooms, and there's windows there that go out into that light well so that you can escape, and there's a little ladder in there that you can push up the grate and get out in case of an emergency. But again, it's a concrete building, so there's not a whole heck of a lot in there to burn. And when you understand how Europeans live in there, there's not a whole lot of furniture in there either, so a match isn't really going to do much to this place. Secondly, you can see the windows here. Because of the concrete wall, they're in a deep well. And that deep well provides the opportunity to do a couple specific things to the windows. We're going to jump around the side here because it's just an easier window to access. Notice the concrete. It's a board-formed concrete soffit there, which is just beautiful. It's intriguing. And again, notice the size of these overhangs. We're probably talking almost 3 feet of overhangs. So they pay really close attention to water management here also. So let's go over here. So inside here, this deep well, we're talking maybe about 12 inches. We have a tilt-turn window. So you've seen some of my videos. If you haven't, go back and look at them. I talk about European tilt-turn windows a lot. It's no surprise in Europe, we find a European tilt-turn window, right? But the thing that I think is really amazing in Europe is that almost every window that I've seen since I've been out here for a couple weeks has some level of shading device on the outside of it. So you can see here, this one has these blinds that you can close up. And they do a few things. One, they provide an additional level of security. They give you a kind of a blackout in the room. The bedroom we were staying in, when we closed these things, it was literally pitch dark at night. But also, it gives you that shading device, right? We're going to go back to the studio, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in shading devices and windows, etc. But a couple other things I wanted to point out. These are, they might even be precast sills here, but notice they have that little kerf down there. So you have that level of, again, of water management happening here. And just, these open up beautifully. They offer a nice, beautiful aesthetic to the house. I don't know. It's been a treat here. It's my first time to Italy, and that has been an absolute treat. If you ever get the chance to come out here, I say check it out. The construction, everything. We toured a Colosseum yesterday. It was 2,000 years old. So, in Italy, you get to see the gamut of civilizations and how they evolved through time. So anyways, let's jump back to the studio. We're going to talk a little bit more about shading devices and windows, etc. So let's head back.
Hey, everybody. So hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of tour. Let's talk up a few things. What's interesting is how common some things are and how different the solutions are, right? I mean, obviously they do a lot of building out of masonry and concrete, where we don't do that here. We build out of sticks and wood. So the concept is the same, that we're developing shelters and we have to deal with the same conditions like water. You saw that, they had the little drip edge on that windowsill there, or the little curve in the bottom, and except it was masonry and ours are wood. But the solution is somewhat the same, and the battle is the same. Material, well, it changes a little bit. One of the highlights of the trip out there from a building science perspective was how often or how many of the windows in Italy were treated from the outside. And I know, on previous trips to Europe, staying in their houses, that, window treatment, and when I say window treatment, I'm talking like exterior shades, shutters, that type of enclosure on the window or shading device. It's almost treated like you buy the window, you buy the insect screen like we would in America, but there you get the shading device with it also, which it's a much harder sell in America. And, they do it right there. It's shaded on the outside. In America, we tend to want to put blinds and shades and curtains on the inside of the house because obviously they become part of the decoration, if you will. But the problem with that is that once you allow the energy through the glass, and if the barrier is on the inside, well, the energy is already on this side of the glass or inside, right? This is another inside-outside kind of argument, which is the opposite of the air leakage, in that, you want to keep the things in and out, keep them from going out. Well, when it comes to shading, you want to keep that sun's energy on the outside of the building. You don't want it to come in to the building. So you need to shade. And you saw that, the place where they sit there outside, they have a lot of exterior covered patios and outdoor living, but they're all shaded environments. And the shades are usually some type of operable shade so that you can direct the intensity of shading or the intensity of the amount of sunlight you want to incorporate to a certain area. But it's, just a slightly different way of thinking, which I thought was pretty darn interesting in that, and the concrete soffits, gable end roof certainly had me baffled a little bit. I can't even imagine going to a concrete contractor here in America and saying, hey, yeah, all these soffits, we're going to do those in board-formed concrete around the house. They'd probably look at me like I have 5 heads. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that little tour. I mean, it was somewhat of a common house out there, but it was still really neat to have experienced it. So, today, before we go, usually we'll cut out here and I'll tell you all about how you can find more about me on Instagram at Steve Bazek Architect. You can follow my daughter, Alexandra Bazek. You can find me on the Unbuilded Podcast with Jake Bruton. and Peter Yost. I always talk about how science says, go watch our videos. 7 times. We got all kinds of great people. We got new people added to the Build Show. If you haven't checked it out, there's the old timers, Matt, myself, Wade, Brent, and Jake. And now we got Mechanical Hub, Drywall Shorty, Mr. Detmore, and Design Build Doug. So all kinds of great information. Go check it out. People are always asking me, hey, where should I go? Where should I go? Well, start there. Watch them 7 times. You get a good handle on a bunch of things. But before we depart today, and yeah, I'm waving Big Red around. Unfortunately, Cap didn't even come off of Big Red today. That's all right. Big Red needs a break every once in a while too. It gets him pumped up for the next round. But anyways, before we go, I thought I'd finish this out with just a little slideshow highlighting some of the things I got to see out there. Living in New England, it's really cool. We can see buildings that are hundreds of years old. Well, Italy, you get to see some things that might be thousands of years old. And slightly different take on stuff. So, I was extremely fortunate. We got to, we visited look at those scallop stairs. I mean, these are stairs that have been in use for literally hundreds and hundreds of years. And that stone has gotten worn down. I mean, someplace the scallop's probably 3 inches. It was actually pretty awkward to walk up and more awkward to walk down just because they weren't that flat surface. I got to visit one of my personal favorites of all-time architecture, the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, it's a bridge, but it's kind of a streetscape bridge. And you get to see some pictures on the outside, and I think I even took some, as we walked over it. But it's, I don't know, it's kind of a bridge with a bunch of saddlebags and buildings hanging off the side of it, which I've always been very intrigued by. I got to go to Venice. I mean, who wouldn't like that? We did a bunch of boat tours. You'll see there. I mean, seeing a city from the water, it just gives you a different perspective on how they do things. I mean, we talk about how construction, logistics, and getting this and getting that. Well, imagine if every street was a canal and that the only way you were getting things out and from were via boat. Kind of changes the way you do things. And then one of my favorites, we got to go up to this place, Verona, and they happen to have a Colosseum there. Now, it's not as large as the Roman Colosseum, but it is older. And so just walking the halls or around a building that was placed 2,000 years ago was just a lifetime experience. But anyways, check out the videos, or the photos there. And the last one is probably one of the more amazing buildings that we got to visit. It was the cathedral in Milan. And, it's the detail. I have a bunch